So it's a fear. Control is a fear, right? Yeah. And usually, what do we fear if things don't go right? What's our fear about things not going right? What will that make you feel like? A failure or whatever? Why do you always want things to go right? Yeah. So your self-worth relies on doing things right. And this is what people do. My self-worth relies on how my kids are performing in school. My self-worth relies on how my business is doing. My self-worth relies on how many people like me. And I'll tell you what, we've coached people, so many people, and regardless of how many times. So there's this thing called keystone habit. So keystone habit is the main habit that drives all the other habits. For example, you can find a business owner who is always stressed, and this is an example. And why are they always stressed? They work too much. Why do they work too much? They struggle to say no to their client or boss. Why do they struggle to say no to their client? They're people pleasing, they don't have self-worth. Or another one might be they work too much because they're not making enough money, and they're not making enough money. They have enough clients, but they're not making enough money because they're undercharging themselves. Why are they undercharging themselves? Because they undercharge themselves, they have to work so many hours. Why are they undercharging themselves? Because of lack of self-worth. You look at someone who doesn't take care of themselves when we want to eat shit all the time because we don't believe we deserve better. It always goes back to self-worth. You look at back, for example, we spoke about prioritizing ourselves. Why we struggle to prioritize ourselves. We cannot talk about prioritizing ourselves. We cannot prioritize ourselves about looking at self-worth. We have to build our self-worth. I'm not scared of saying no, and I'm not scared of doing the right thing because I know that I'm already worthy of love and acceptance, regardless. And we're all worthy of love and acceptance, regardless of where you are with your goals. You can't wait to lose 20 kilos or whatever shape you want to get into to feel worthy. You have to feel worthy first to achieve that. Does that make sense? People normally say, I'm gonna lose 20 kilos, then be confident. That's not the way it works. Does that make sense? What's your biggest challenge? Food inconsistency. Why? Because I'm stressed out and don't have time. Why are you stressed out and don't have time? I'm always busy. Why are you always busy? Do you want to answer that for me?
I'm always busy because I'm always putting other people first.
Yeah, why do you put other people first?
Because I want them to be good.
Okay, before we even go to busy, let's look at busy. This is the most used excuse, busy, right? Do you think that people are really busy? Do we have a time problem? Let's be honest. Do we have a time problem? Yep. Why would you say we have a time problem?
Because there's not enough that I want to do in my day.
So I want to make this really clear. When people say I don't have time, this is why. Everything we do in here goes back to the mindset. And once you know how to see things the right way, nobody can sell to you bullshit. So we don't have a time problem. We have a time management problem, which is a reflection of our habits, mindset, fears, and lifestyle. If we lack self-worth, we're gonna people please, which means we'll be too busy always doing everything for everyone else but ourselves. I want you to remember that every time you say yes to someone else, you're always saying no to yourself. And the way we make decisions in our life, we look at life as trade-offs. And when you start looking at this, for example, there are no solutions, we only have trade-offs. Like, there are people who are not here today. They canceled being here. But there's a trade-off. There's something they're missing from being here. Their transformation is going to take longer. Does that make sense? You could have done something else, but you're here today. Rhonda Rosie could have been partying, our partying animal, but she's here on her birthday, her 56th birthday. She's here getting empowered. Like, we don't have solutions, we only have trade-offs. You can go out and party, but then you compromise on sleep. You're skimping on sleep. Then your session takes a toll. Then you're inconsistent, and that reflects on your health, whatever. You know what I mean? So I want you guys to always remember that. Anytime you think you have a time problem, go back and remember that I don't have a time problem. I have a time management problem, which is a reflection of my habits, mindset, fears, identity, and lifestyle. What can I do about that? You'll always find something. There's always a solution. There's always a solution. There's always something else you can cut off. Okay, one last thing. I just want to take you guys through a self-sabotage cycle. This is like really cool. So there's 3 stages. An informed optimism. I normally struggle with this one. Informed pessimism. Always crisis of meaning, breaking point, or whatever. So I'm gonna go through it. So an informed optimism, the exciting start. You find a new diet, challenge, or program. You see someone's success story and think, yes, this time it will be different. Excitement is in high, motivation through the roof. You dive headfirst, but motivation always fades. The rush never lasts. And if it's the only thing holding you, the whole thing collapses. Part 2, you move from an informed optimist to informed pessimist. This is where the reality sets up like, oh shit, this is not as easy as I thought. Building a business is not as easy as I thought. I hate this. Why did I start this? You know what I mean? Doubt creeps in. This is hard. I can't do this forever. You know what I mean? This is where most people panic and go searching for the next easier fix. Straight back to the start. So then there's stage 3, which is the valley of despair. You're working hard, sacrificing, but results don't match your effort. Frustration builds, guilt sets in, shame creeps up, and quitting feels like the only option. For most, this is where it ends. Back to old habits, back to the start. But this is also where the breakthrough lives. Push through and everything changes, quit, and the cycle repeats. So, from the crisis of meaning, people have 2 options. We can either go back, do a new thing and become an informed optimist, move from Jenny Craig to Weight Watchers or whatever, or we can dig deep and go through, stick to the informed. We can go through it. We can go through it and go back to be from an informed to informed pessimist. So I now know what's involved. I now know that this is not just about cardio and holding hands and singing kumbaya, kumbaya and sweating. I now know that, oh, I'm going to need to address my emotions. And sometimes my emotions that I've been using food to soothe, I'm going to have to face them and confront some fears. It's hard, but this is the only, there's no going around it. There's no going under it. There's no going over it. The only way is through it. So you want to think of your transformation as your transformation is on the other side, New Zealand. There's a tunnel that we have to crawl through. There's spiders and snake. So you have to. There's no going over it, under it. The only way is through it. That's the saddest part about transformation, and nobody can do it for you.
So, the transformation roadmap and guaranteed results checklists. So, step 1 is training smarter, not harder. So, most people waste years doing random workouts, but here's the truth: we don't need more exercise. We need resistance training. And I'm going to spend a bit of time on this because as a woman, I am so incredibly passionate about it, because after 30, muscle loss begins. We start to lose lean muscle mass. And without muscle, everything gets harder. Fat loss, energy, bone strength, confidence, you name it. So one key difference between exercise and training is exercise is movement for the sake of sweating, random classes, workouts of the day. Training is structured, progressive, and built around resistant work that actually changes our body. So building muscle, not just burning calories. So today, and my mindset for the rest of my life is I am never thinking about burning calories. I'm always thinking about if I'm building muscle. I'm going to go to the next slide. There is a bit of writing text on these slides, so apologies for that. But why muscle matters most. Muscle is our metabolic engine. The more we have, the more fat we burn, even at rest. Muscle is our insurance policy against aging, protects bones, joints, posture, balance. And muscle is our hormonal reset button. It improves our insulin sensitivity and lowers stress hormones and boosts energy. So these facts that I've got up, I'll read through them as well, but they've really changed my mindset and solidified why muscle is so important. So bone and joint health. Osteoporosis prevention. Women can lose up to 20% of bone density in the first 5 to 7 years after menopause. Resistance training can increase bone density by 1 to 3% in just 12 to 18 months, especially in the spine and hips. Fracture risk. Strength training reduces hip fracture risk by 40 to 50% in older women. Just the thought that what I'm doing today in my life as a nearly 39-year-old is building or rebuilding bone that I'm going to have when I'm 60, 70, 80, 90 just blows my mind. Muscle and metabolism. Women lose about 3 to 8% of muscle mass per decade after 30, accelerating after menopause. Regular strength training helps maintain or even increase lean mass. So as we know, as we start to get older, we're losing muscle mass. So instead of just trying to lose weight or burn fat, what we want our mindset to be thinking is, I want to rebuild that muscle mass. Because if you think about how you felt at 20, 25, maybe early 30s, and how your body was operating and working, that's our muscle mass doing a lot of that work, protecting us, helping us to burn fat, helping us to feel energized. I've once heard muscle mass being called the fountain of youth. It's like, if you want to be rich, build muscle. Like it's like you're it's so important. So at resting metabolism, each kilo of muscle burns 7 to 10 extra calories per day at rest. Women who lift consistently see a 3 to 7% boost in resting metabolic rate, supporting weight management. Combining resistance training with proper nutrition leads to 1.5 times greater fat loss compared to cardio alone. Women who strength train at least twice weekly have a 30% lower risk of type 2 diabetes. So we don't even need so much. Even twice weekly makes a huge difference. Studies show 12 weeks of resistance training lowers blood pressure by 4 to 8 milligrams, similar to the effect of some medications. Strength training improves cholesterol profiles by increasing HDL, the good cholesterol, and reducing triglycerides. When it comes to mental and hormonal health, resistance training reduces depressive symptoms by 20 to 30%, comparable to therapy or antidepressants in mild cases. Women who strength train report 25 to 35% improvements in sleep quality, and strength training improves insulin sensitivity, growth hormone release, and testosterone balance, supporting energy, libido, and mood. And then longevity and quality of life. Oops, I should have gone to the next one. Women who do regular strength training are 40% less likely to die from all causes compared to those who don't. In older women, resistance training improves balance and mobility, cutting fall risk by 30 to 40%. And even just 60 minutes per week of strength training lowers risk of cardiovascular disease and cancer mortality. So strength training is more than fat loss, muscle tone. It's a powerful tool. Again, not just for women, but for everyone. Not just our muscle tone, but for bone health, metabolism, heart health, mental well-being, and long-term independence. So that's why when we say train smarter, strength training and rebuilding our muscle mass is is really key, because you're going to get so much more out of everything else you do. And no amount of cardio or steps or calorie counting can replace that. Did any of that just blow everyone else's mind as much as it blows my mind? And yeah, I love it. I think strength as a ex 100-kilometer runner a week person in my 20s, to where I completely destroyed myself, to completely turn that around, strength train 3 times a week, walk daily, is a huge mindset shift and habit change, but that has given my life and my health and my mind and my world back. So I no longer have to spend all my time running or doing all the other crazy things that we do. All right, so on top of train smarter, periodized training, so planned in phases, not random workouts. So resistance training must be planned like seasons and not smashed out randomly. And what does this look like for everyday people? So if someone brand new comes into here, we're not just focused on, people obviously want to lose weight or lose fat or XYZ, but we also need to look at correcting dysfunction. So that's fixing posture, mobility, old injuries. We then look at building a base, stability, fundamentals, and being confident with the weight. So being able to progressively lift heavier, adding lean more muscle and speeding up metabolism. So, when people first get started, it takes time to build up that ability to be able to lift more. And then there's a performance phase where you're moving better, building resilience for daily life. Things, climbing upstairs, carrying shopping bags, having to pick up heavy dogs, help kids, family members, everything, the stuff that we do in our everyday life improves. And then we also need to make sure that we're planning in recovery and deloads so we do not burn out. Really important. And no one size fits all. I often find, and this is where it comes off like training plans or meal plans. But when it comes to results, you need to find what works for you, and you need to consider it based on your goals, your history, injuries, and your mobility, your current capability, and your current lifestyle and stress levels. All right, so the next lever is optimize recovery. So once training starts to lock in change or sparks the change, recovery locks it in. So training is a stress on the body, and recovery is how our body repairs, rebuild. So when we're training, we're breaking down muscle. What we eat and our sleep quality and ability to manage stress is what helps the muscle rebuild. So that's really key as well. So if we don't want to just keep breaking down muscle. We need to help it to recover. So I've just got here that sleep is looking at 7 to 9 hours of quality rest, and again, it's different for everybody. Nutrition, we spoke about earlier, not eating less. We want to fuel our body to repair and restore. So we're not only repairing our muscles to rebuild, but everything in our body is made up of cells, and cells are continuously breaking down and repairing. So that's why instead of looking at cutting stuff out, we actually need to eat more of the good stuff. We need that nutrition. We need the vitamins. We need the minerals. Stress management. So learning things in your life to help you lower cortisol. And a big part of that is also why we walk daily and why we walk outside. The next one is eating for results. So what I sort of just started to touch on. So improving nutrition instead of eating less. We need protein. Protein is really important. And I also, as someone in the fitness industry, but also a woman, and people do in the fitness industry do bang on about protein. but it is really essential, but not just protein alone. We also need to be eating rainbows, or what we will call low energy carbohydrates. Low energy carbohydrates are our fruits and our vegetables and our legumes. These things burn fat, but they help our body. Our body needs them. Okay, and we can eat so much more of them than what we realize we can eat. Women often eat small portions. We're scared. It's a bit, I'm scared to overeat. But when we're eating fruits and vegetables and legumes, these things we can eat. We can eat a fair bit of them. And when we're eating a fair bit of them, our body will function better. When our body's functioning better, it will want to burn fat. I can't bang on anymore about with your protein, legumes, variety in rainbow foods, as like not just sticking to the same things all the time. Yes, that helps with systems and structure, but also making sure you're getting in lots of color. High energy carbohydrates, so they're the things like our oats, rice, bread, cereals, pastas, all those kind of things. But when we can get better results when we keep them after our training. So when we've lifted, when we've trained, our muscles then act like a sponge and they absorb the carbohydrate. And when it's absorbing the carbohydrate, it's then going to get into our muscle, going to help our muscle repair, and it's going to help once it's in the muscle to help the muscle repair and get the glucose into the muscle. The next time you train, you're going to feel stronger. You're going to feel more energized. But it's less likely then to also just sit in our bloodstream or then get turned into fat. So if we can keep the high energy, this doesn't mean all or nothing, doesn't mean you can't eat high energy carbohydrates at another time in your day. It just means when you get them in after your training, they're going to go to good use. You can enjoy them then, and they're going to help you to get the results that you are looking for. And eating more whole foods over processed foods. If we can decrease processed foods, again, there's a lot of food allergies these days, and more people are gluten free. But the thing is, a lot of plant food is gluten free. A lot of the processed stuff is full of gluten. So if we can eat more whole foods, you're again going to see much better results as well. One thing that's not up there that I'll just also add is also with our meals, it's also looking at not only repairing our lean muscle mass and getting in the vitamins and minerals that our body needs, but we also need to make sure that we're consistently reducing inflammation. So we live inflamed lives these days, not just the foods that we eat, but the way we live, the stress we're under, everything we do. So plant food is really good. It's really good to lower our inflammation in our body, but also omega-3 is really, really important as well. And getting that in with as many meals as you can. So that can look like flax oil, something like flax oil, flax meal. It can look like, other nuts and seeds. From all the stuff that I've done, flax meal, flax oil, and fish oil, they're the ones that we sort of really encourage. But obviously, when you're eating an abundance of whole foods, that's going to also increase our omega-3 ratio in our body, and it has to be consistent. You can't just don't. It's something you need to be doing daily, and if possible, with all your meals. So this is our bridge from our recovery. So here's a catch. You can train smart, you can recover well, but if your habits, mindset, and identity are pulling in the opposite direction, your body can't keep up and will stay in that cycle. So this is the part that most people miss, and it's why results slip away. To truly transform, to make recovery, training, and results stick, we can't just change what we do. We need to change how we think, what we believe, and the habits we live by. Because even the best plan will collapse if the mindset beneath it is broken. And Ronnie's spoken a lot about systems. We all know you've had that. We've spoken a lot about that. But I will add in systems are important because this stuff is highly emotional. Our emotions will make the decisions for us if we don't have systems in place. Up there it says structure, accountability, data. So structure is what keeps us anchored. Accountability is important, that removes the shame. So basically being able to be accountable to something without feeling like you've done something wrong. Clarity, that removes the noise, and consistency, that compounds the results. Also with your system, it's sticking to same times. One reason why, training with somebody and being accountable to that, because you've got that time locked in. If you don't stick to things, like if you don't put in your plan, this is when I'm cooking or meal prepping, if you don't do it at that time, it won't get done. So you need to have that time, you need to lock it in.